The National Security Agency found itself on the defensive again over domestic spying operations. New documents revealed the identities of 5 Muslim Americans who had been under surveillance between 2002 and 2008. Former NSA contractor Edward Snowden provided the highly classified documents to the online publication The Intercept. Faisal Gill was one of the people targeted by the NSA. He's an attorney in private practice in Washington, D.C. area, and he has also served as a former senior policy advisor for Undersecretary for Information Analysis and Infrastructure Protection in the Department of Homeland Security under the George W. Bush administration. I spoke to him earlier from Washington, D.C. Faisal, welcome to Arise America. Thanks so much for being here with us. First of all, I just want to ask you, why do you think you were chosen to be surveilled by the NSA?
That's the million-dollar question for me right now. I have no idea what's in my background or what I could have done to have the NSA monitor my emails and suspect me of any sort of terrorist activity or being under the influence of a foreign government. I just have no idea what I've done. I mean,
No, go ahead, please.
I was going to say 2 years, prior to them monitoring my emails, I worked in the government. I had a very high security clearance. I worked at the Department of Homeland Security, and then since I left, all I've done is just practice law, and I just don't know. That's my biggest curiosity.
In fact, in some of the articles that I read, it did reference your security clearance, and apparently someone in the government said, accused you of falsifying records to obtain that security clearance. You were, in fact, cleared of those charges, but does that explanation ring true to you at all?
I think that maybe goes to explain why somebody in the government always wanted to monitor me. They tried various different reasons or various different ways. First, they tried to say that I lied on my security clearance forms. Once that was proven to be false, that I did not lie on my security clearance forms, and the DHS IG's office cleared me, maybe they tried this way to try to get the FISA court to issue a warrant against me to basically monitor my emails because they thought that I was involved in some activities that, absolutely I wasn't involved in.
Let me just take a step back and ask you, how and when did you find out that you were a target of surveillance?
I received an email first from Glenn Greenwald, who asked me to meet him somewhere, either in Washington or in New York. We met in New York. I was there at that as well. And then there's where he told me that NSA was monitoring my emails. He asked me first, he read me an email address and said, "Is this your email?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Well, you've been monitored since 2007, and I was just shocked and surprised at that.
And, okay, so shock and surprise were your reactions. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that hit you?
I was just dumbfounded. I mean, I said, "Are you sure?" I think I kept on asking him, "Are you sure? Me? I mean, is it me? Are you sure you have the email address right?" Because I was not even, it just didn't even occur to me that I could be under surveillance or somebody would be monitoring me. I mean, it was just a complete out of left field. And yeah, I was a little bit angry once I thought about it, but anger wasn't even my issue. My issue still was trying to find out what it is that I have done that would warrant the NSA and FBI monitoring my emails.
Well, let's go down a list of a few possible things. Are you registered with a political party? Are you politically active?
I am. I'm very politically active. I mean, at that time when they were monitoring my email, I was actually running for public office in the state of Virginia for Virginia's House of Delegates, state legislature. And I've been active since then as well.
Do you suspect there's anything about you as a human being that triggered this attention? For instance, your religion, your ethnic heritage, your race, anything like that?
I think they all had a significant part to play. If I wasn't Muslim, if I wasn't from Pakistan and I still had family back in Pakistan, I don't think that people would be viewing me in the way that they're viewing me in. I'd like to think that the government does not do that, but the alternative is even scarier. If the NSA was not targeting me because of my race and because of my religion, that means it was something that I was doing that caused them to suspect me. And there's absolutely nothing that I was doing that caused them to suspect me. The only thing that I can figure out that I've been saying is I was involved with a law partner. I had a law partner who's also on the list as well, Asim Ghafoor. He was representing people who were on the terror watch list, and he was also at that time representing the government of Sudan, which I assisted him in that representation for a little bit. That's the only thing that I can think of. But if that's the case, that's even more ridiculous, because there were several large law firms that were representing the same people that Asim was representing, and there was a huge U.S. law firm that was representing the government of Sudan at the same time that we were, yet they're not being monitored, and Asim and I were. So that's the only possible explanation that I can offer.
So, Faisal, what do you think should be done about this? And do you think the United States government owes you an apology?
You know, I don't know. Yeah, I guess in a more sense it does. They should say, hey, look, or at least at the very least, they should put out a statement that says, I was not doing anything wrong. You know, I should not be suspected of anything, because what it is right now is you've got a lot of people thinking, well, if the NSA was monitoring him, maybe he was up to something and they just didn't catch him, or something to that effect. But what I really think needs to happen is Congress needs to exercise its oversight authority and put in safeguards so the NSA does not do that to any other people.
All right, Faisal Gill, thank you so much for coming on and telling us about your experience.
Thank you very much for having me.